Okay, so this is a quick introduction to this section 5.1. I want to talk about a property first, the additive inverse, where if we take any integer and add its opposite, we get 0. So on the number line, let's look something like this. If I take the number 2 and I add its opposite, which is -2, we end up with 0. Also works the other way. If I start here and take -3 and add 3, I also get 0. This is a huge property of inverses. Now when I get to the chip model, we're going to be working with what's called zero pairs, and it's based on this property where 1 plus -1 forms a 0. So first let's just look at the number line in general, like you grew up. And let's do a problem like this. Let's do 3 plus 2, which you know the answer to. So you may have done it a couple ways. You may have started here and drawn an arrow to 3, and then you add 2 more to that, then magically you have 5. Well, I'm going to do the same thing with our chip model, which is kind of built on direct modeling where you're putting stuff together. So pile of 3 and a pile of 2. You knew since you were a little kid when you put those together, you were adding, you ended up with 5. So now the big question is, what do you know that made you do this? Because for a long time when you grew up, when you added anything, if you added anything to 3, you went that way on the number line. So I'm just wondering what kind of rules you knew that make you go 2 to the left. Well, we're going to do the chip model, which is another way to look at this, and then we're going to link it back to this number line model. So basically, here's my chip model. I'm starting with 3 positives. I've got 2 negatives. And if I add these, if I put them together, I just formed 2 zero pairs here. So my resulting number, the result is 1, because it's 1 plus 2 zeros, which you know is the additive identity. So now suddenly we just put stuff together, and look which way we moved on the number line. We moved to the left. So let me try a couple more of these. Let's start with 3. Let's add -5. See where we get to. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 negatives. I've got 3 zero pairs plus -2 is -2. So suddenly adding, going to the left on the number line. So basically, in a nutshell, that's giving us a way to say, okay, what if I start here with -3? And how about if I add -2 to that? Well, I bring in my -2. Again, now I have -5. And I'm learning that when I add a negative now, negative 3 plus negative 2, I'm going to the left. And so it's another way to kind of join these things together so we're not just making up rules and procedures.